Say, my name is Art Bazurto. Paul said I need to wear a badge. I was born in June 17th, 1944 in San Francisco, California. And so I was raised Roman Catholic. And I had to go to a Catholic church, of course, and Catholic schools. And when I was, in 5th grade, I finally did something I probably shouldn't have done. I shot a spitball and hit the nun in the back of the head. And then she came over with her famous ruler and told me to put my hand down there. And
She was drooling.
yeah. And she went to hit my hand, and I moved. And she broke her ruler. So I got expelled. So I started going to a public school then, and I met we moved from San Francisco to San Fernando Valley because my dad got hurt, and he used to work for PG&E, and he fell off a telephone pole. One of those street elevators had come up, and they were supposed to send a guy out to make sure nobody was on it, and they didn't, and he was setting up and fell down and broke his back. And so he got a settlement, so we moved to San Fernando Valley, and they bought a house there, and I started going to public school. Well, we had a neighbor that moved into the other house right next door, and they had a son. He was Larry Venata, and he was 1 year younger than I was. And he started, and the free church was right next door. I could throw a rock and hit it. And so he was going to there, and I was still going to the Catholic church. And my folks were going, and I kept saying, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Finally, I didn't have to go. And but we started playing football at the church parking lot. And pretty soon, we were out there throwing the ball, and two men came out of the Sunday school building, and they started talking to us and started playing catch with us and stuff. And we invited us into the Sunday school, and they had some lemonade and stuff, and sitting down, and we talked, and then we said, well, why don't we meet again next Saturday, and we'll play some more football and bring some of your friends. So we had a bunch of other friends come in and play football, and then they started telling us about the Lord, and we decided, well, we kept doing this for about a month or so, and then we decided, why don't we have a club? So the men thought about it, and they said, okay. So they went to school, and we started Christian Service Brigade. And so we had about 30 kids. But I still hadn't accepted Christ as personal Savior. That was till I was 13 at a missions conference when I went forward and accepted the Lord as my personal Savior. And then went through high school, started going to high school, and we had a new pastor come in, and it was another Pastor Miller. And he had 4 kids, a daughter, older daughter, and an older son. And then he had Don Miller, who became my best buddy, and he had a younger brother, Spike. So we used to get in trouble all the time because he was a PK and an MK. And so I played on the church softball team, and in 1966, good old Uncle Sam was knocking on my door, but I beat him to it. I went and joined the Air Force. I spent 4 years in the Air Force, and I went to such nice places as Guam and Okinawa, and spent basic training in Amarillo Air Force Base, which the drill instructor said you can't go AWOL because they could see you for 3 days. Because it was flat. And I got out, and but the nice thing about it is I was stationed at March Air Force Base, which is 80 miles from home. So on weekends, I used to come home and go to church at the Free Church. And then I got out, and I couldn't find a job because I was a Vietnam vet. And they said, well, one of the guys at church had just started a business, so he hired me, and I started working for him. And then in 1974, on January 4th, I met my beautiful wife, Carol, and that was on a blind date. Our grandhome, who was in our church, there was 3 arts in our church, so we called each other the industrial arts. So we went out on a date, and Art asked me, he said, "You want me to take her home?" I said, "No, I think I can handle that." So I took her back home, and we sat out in my car till 3 in the morning talking. I mean, you know, getting to know each other and stuff. And next night, we went out to church bowling date, and then I brought her to church on Sunday morning. Well, then Art calls me Monday morning. He says, "What did you do to Carol? She's sick." I said, "I don't know." So she invited me over to come over for dinner on Wednesday, and we were engaged Wednesday night. And but we got married in August 15th of that year. And we both were working, so we continued to work. And then, let's see what, so then I was working for this one company that was a sister company to where she worked at. And this other boss, that's one of our guys on the baseball team, everybody was connected to the baseball team. And so I started working for them. They had a sheet metal shop, which was right up my alley. And so I was working for them and for about a year. And we decided we didn't want to live in California anymore. So I gave them notice, the company I was working for. And Dan Hale says, "Art, we were going to make you the sharp foreman and send you to the CNC school." And he said, "Well, you know, we want to raise a family out of California." So we moved, and I got a job right away in Oregon. And 9 months later, we have bought a house. We got a good deal on it. And so I think about about a year later, they got a letter from the Free Church. They were having their 50th anniversary. And so we decided to go. And we went, and I met my boss there. And I asked him how the sheet metal shop was going. And he says, "It's going good. We got 160 employees and about 5 or 6 CNC machines. So my wages would have been way up there if I would have stuck. But when I moved to Oregon, my wages went down to $3 an hour. And then I worked myself up to quality control. And but the Lord was really with us after we bought our house, because we got a church planner, came from the Free Church, and called us. And because when we moved to Oregon, we moved with another family from church, and we had a van together, and so they wanted both of us to start a Free Church. So we had the planner come and stay with us a couple of times, and we decided, well, we'll start meeting in homes. And so we met in homes, and it went from homes to we rented a facility in the Seventh-day Adventists, because they meet on Saturday. So we got up to about 30 people, and then we decided to build a church. So got that going, and then I was working at Fuqua Homes, and I had moved myself up from a sheet metal guy to a quality control guy. And then they laid me off because I had rejoined the Air Force. I was a guardsman, and so I was making $9 an hour there. And then they laid me off, and I went up to Portland to see my section chief and asked him if he had any open positions. And he said, yeah. I said, he's got a 120-day here. So when the company laid me off, I told him, put me on vacation because I got 4 weeks of vacation. This way the government can't take all your money. And so the Lord was watching over us then, because we found a house right away in the Portland area. And it was ironic that when they asked me, the mortgage company asked me for employment, I just put down my old company because I was on vacation. So they called the company and said, is Art Bazurto working there? And I said, yes. He said, yes, he's on vacation. So all the paperwork went through, we moved in, had a house, had a job up, and then we found another church up in Oregon, a Baptist church, and we started going there. And then the kids started coming. And so had the 3 wonderful kids, and one of them goes here, Jennifer Weiss and Josh, and so been blessed. Every time we did something, the Lord blessed us for it.